This is the sort of canvas I'm using. This is a linen, raw linen. You can see it's not that thick, but it's very strong. Linen's incredibly strong. It's got no bias on the cloth, so that you can stretch it equally well in both directions. This is a stretching pliers that you can use, but not really on raw canvas like this, but you will use it on primed canvas or canvas that's maybe got a painting on it already. Once you re-stretch it onto a frame, this is how you do it. You sort of like grab the canvas, hook it over the edge of the frame, and then just lever it down to stretch it. You don't really need it for what we're going to do now, because it sort of gets too tight, cause a bit of damage. Of course, you need some staple gun or tacks if you're going to connect the cloth to the frame. A right angle is very good. It's pretty important to actually make sure the frame is square actually on the corners, on the opposite corners of the frame. So you test one corner, and then you flip it around and test the opposite corner, and that's enough to really tell whether the whole frame is square. It's more important with a frame that's got slotted stretches in it, so that because they can move around quite a bit. This one's already pre-made, so it's not too bad. Alright, here we're just going to cut out the cloth. You need to sort of cut out a little bit over size, so you've got room to pull on the cloth and to sort of bring it around to the back of the frame when you're stapling. So you can sort of get an idea roughly how much you need. Depends on the thickness of the frame, really. Now you need to make sure you've got plenty of staples, because it uses quite a lot of staples actually doing this. So I've got a big pile that I never get through. And we start in the middle of the frame on the side. So we just fold it over, staple that side in. Then we go to the opposite middle and pull that tight. Not incredibly tight, because it's going to tighten up when we put the gesso and stuff on. So we do then the next side in the sort of cross formation, and do it in the same way. Tighten it with finger tight. Staple it in and go down to the opposite side again. It's pretty straightforward from here. It's just a little bit tedious. It's you just start working outwards from the center of these sides. So I go just one side of that center, and then the other side of that center, and then I move across to the opposite side of the frame, do it there, and depending on how many staples you want to put in, you can do these closer together perhaps sometimes. The main thing you have to be careful about is not over tightening it, but getting it reasonably tight. Because when the gesso and the rabbit skin glue are put on, the water in the gesso tends to tighten the canvas very tight and can actually bend the frame. If the frame's big enough, you need sometimes to have cross pieces across the middle of the frame so that they don't bend or buckle in the middle. This is sort of getting on the limit, this frame, for actually the size to do it at. As you get towards the ends, you don't need to worry so much about stretching across, alternate sides. It's easy enough just to keep doing the corners up. You can see there's a bit of tension problems across the sides on the ends there. There we go. It's a little bit hard on your hands if you do a lot of this. You can see the little buckling that's occurring along the edge there. Yeah, it's fairly tight. That buckling there will sort of go out when we actually put the gesso on, or it should. And then what you're left in now is to try to actually fold the ends over and make the ends neat. There's several ways of doing that. I'll just mention two, but there's actually more. Here I'm just sort of tightening the edges a little bit, along the sides a bit more. Now here we go, here's an edge. Now first of all, at the corner you can sort of just bend it over. In the simplest way really is to just bend it over in a diagonal, fold it under and then pull it over and staple it down like that. It doesn't look quite as neat as some of the other ways, but this is the way I normally do it. Fold it under the other way and then bend it at a right angle. Here, you should be able to see it more clearly here. Just push your finger in from the side. It's pretty hard sometimes to do this, but with a bit of effort you can sort of force it under properly. And then fold and twist it under and then bring it round, staple it down. And that looks quite neat. You can, once it's got gesso and paint on it, it looks really quite neat. It's just a matter of getting the right orientation for the rest of them. Close-up view. I'll move on to gessoing next.